My friend, imagine for a moment that every single second of your life, your first breath, your deepest love, your final sigh, is already written, already exists, not in a future that's yet to unfold, but as an eternal, unmoving tapestry. What if the ticking clock, the relentless march of past, present, and future, is nothing more than a trick of our perception, a profound illusion woven by the very dimension we inhabit? Today, we journey beyond the limits of the ordinary, venturing into the esoteric heart of reality itself. We will peer into the profound mystery of higher dimensions and confront a truth so liberating, it could shatter your understanding of existence. Why time, as we know it, simply doesn't exist in those higher realms. Prepare to transcend the clock, to glimpse the eternal, and to unlock a timeless perspective that has been hidden in plain sight. Part 1. The Prison of the Present, our 3D perception of time. Greetings, seekers of wisdom. Let us begin by acknowledging our current predicament, the very framework that shapes our experience, our existence within 3 spatial dimensions. You move left or right, forward or back, up or down. But alongside these, there is a 4th dimension we all experience, time. We perceive time as a linear river, flowing relentlessly from the past, through the fleeting present, and into an unknown future. We remember yesterday, we live in this now, and we anticipate tomorrow. This linear progression feels absolute, undeniable. Clocks tick, calendars turn, and we age. It's the very rhythm of our lives, dictating our plans, our regrets, and our hopes. But what if this, now, is merely a narrow beam of light cast by a flashlight, moving across a vast, already existing landscape? The landscape itself isn't becoming as the light moves. It is. Our conscious awareness, bound by these 3 dimensions, is the beam, and our time is merely the sensation of that beam moving across a static reality. Consider a book. When you read it, you experience the story page by page, linearly. Chapter 1 precedes Chapter 2, and so on. You perceive the character's journey as unfolding in a sequence. But does Chapter 20 not exist until you read Chapter 19? Of course not. The entire book, every word, every page, every moment of the story exists simultaneously, bound within the covers. Your reading time is merely your linear journey through its already complete reality. This analogy helps us grasp the fundamental limitation of our perception. Our human brains, designed to navigate a 3D world, process reality in a sequential manner. We need cause and effect, sequence, and duration to make sense of our physical environment, to learn, to grow, and to plan. This linear perception of time is a crucial tool for survival in our dimension. But just as a fish in a 2-dimensional pond might not comprehend the concept of up or down, we, in our 3-dimensional reality, struggle to conceive of existence without the forward march of time. This suggests that time, as we experience it, isn't an inherent, universal fabric that everything must obey. Instead, it might be a localized phenomenon, a perceptual construct deeply tied to the specific rules and limitations of our current dimensional reality. And if that is true, then breaking free from these limitations, ascending to a higher dimension, would fundamentally alter our relationship with time itself. It would mean stepping out of the river and seeing the entire landscape laid out before us. Part 2. The Block Universe, Time as a Fixed Landscape. To truly grasp why time might not exist in higher dimensions, we must first entertain a radical concept from theoretical physics and philosophy, the block universe theory. This idea posits that all of space-time, past, present, and future, is not flowing or changing, but is instead a single, static, 4-dimensional block, already complete and eternally existing. Imagine a giant cosmic movie reel. Every frame of the movie, from the very beginning to the very end, exists simultaneously on that reel. When you watch the movie, you perceive the frames in sequence, creating the illusion of movement and time. But the entire film, in its totality, is already there, fixed. In the block universe, our reality is that film. Every event, every moment, every now in human history and beyond, isn't happening in sequence, but rather is there, like points on a vast, unchanging landscape. From a higher dimensional perspective, if such a perspective were possible, you wouldn't be traveling through time. Instead, you'd be able to perceive all moments simultaneously, much like looking down on a landscape from a mountaintop. From that vantage point, the winding road below doesn't flow past you. It's simply there, stretched out in its entirety. Every bend, every turn, every destination and origin point is visible at once. This is a profoundly different way of thinking about reality. It suggests that your birth and your death, every triumph and every sorrow, every choice you make, isn't something that will happen or did happen, but rather something that simply is, existing as a specific coordinate within the grand block of space-time. Your consciousness, being anchored in our limited 3 dimensions, moves through this block, experiencing the illusion of linear progression. The implications are staggering. If the future already exists, does free will truly operate as we understand it? This is a deep philosophical rabbit hole, but the esoteric wisdom suggests a nuanced answer. While the entire movie might be complete, our conscious experience of navigating it, our choices within each perceived now, are still real for us. It's like an actor in a play. The script is written, but the actor's performance within that script is still a real act of choice and interpretation. The higher dimensional view doesn't negate our journey. It simply reveals the grander context in which our journey unfolds. This block universe perspective is the essential bridge to understanding timelessness. If all of space-time is already a fixed entity, then for a consciousness that can perceive beyond our limited sequential filtering, the concept of time passing would become utterly meaningless. It would simply be. Part 3. The view from above, spatializing time. To truly grasp the timelessness of higher dimensions, let's play with a mind-bending concept, spatializing time. Imagine time not as a river you're flowing down, but as another spatial dimension, just like length, width, and height. Consider a simple, 2-dimensional drawing of a line. If a tiny creature lived on that line, it would only understand forward and backward. It would perceive movement along that line as its entire reality. Now, imagine a 3-dimensional being looking down at that line. To the 3D being, the entire line exists simultaneously. There's no forward or backward in its perception of the whole line. It just is. Now, apply this to our reality. We live in 3 spatial dimensions, length, width, height, and perceive movement along what we call the 4th dimension, time. From a higher dimensional perspective, say, a 5th dimension, it's theorized that this time dimension might appear as another spatial axis. If you could perceive reality from a 5th dimensional vantage point, you wouldn't just see a single slice of a person, their present moment. You would see their entire existence stretched out like a long, continuous noodle through space-time. Every moment of their life, from birth to death, would be simultaneously visible, just as you can see the entire length of a noodle on a table. This means that from a higher dimension, the concept of yesterday or tomorrow becomes meaningless. There is no past to have flowed away, no future to arrive. There is only an eternal present, a complete and utterly unchanging whole. Events aren't happening, they simply are, fixed points in a grander spatial arrangement. Think of an architect looking at blueprints. They don't experience the house being built over time on the blueprint. The entire design, every room, every pipe, every wire is laid out simultaneously. They can see the beginning foundation, the middle, walls, and the end roof all at once. The time it takes to build the house is a 3D phenomenon. The blueprint, representing a higher dimensional view, is timeless. This spatializing of time is a recurring theme in esoteric teachings, often hinting that our linear perception is merely a necessary limitation of our current state of consciousness. Many ancient texts, speaking of the eternal now or the Alpha and Omega, are hinting at this very concept, a reality where all moments coalesce into a single, unified, timeless existence. It challenges us to release our deeply ingrained assumption that time is a fundamental, flowing entity, and instead consider it as a fixed dimension, just like the space around us. That we simply navigate in a linear fashion due to our perceptual constraints. Part 4. The Higher Self and the Eternal Now. If time is merely a construct of our current dimension, then what does this imply for our own consciousness, particularly the concept of the higher self? Many spiritual traditions speak of a part of us that is beyond the limitations of the physical world, a soul or spirit that exists outside the confines of linear time. This higher self isn't, in the future, waiting for you to catch up, nor is it a memory from the past. It is the eternal, timeless aspect of your being that exists in the eternal now. Imagine your current self as a single wave breaking on the shore of time. Your higher self is the entire ocean, the vast, boundless consciousness from which all waves emerge and to which they return. The ocean doesn't experience past waves or future waves. It simply is the totality of all water, all potential waves, simultaneously. From this perspective, the journey of spiritual growth isn't about becoming something new in the future. It's about remembering and reconnecting with what you already eternally are. Your higher self already encompasses all your experiences, all your lessons learned, all your potential realized, because it exists in the timeless domain where all moments are accessible. Think of it like a grand library. Your human consciousness is currently reading one specific book, one page at a time. Your higher self, however, has access to the entire library. Every book, every story, every piece of knowledge, all existing simultaneously on the shelves. It doesn't wait for you to read a book. It already knows the contents of every book in the collection. This is why intuition often feels like a sudden knowing, a download of information that bypasses linear thought. It's a momentary flicker of connection to that timeless library. This profound insight has incredible implications for practices like manifestation and healing. If all potential realities already exist in the timeless block universe, then manifesting isn't about creating something from nothing in the future. It's about aligning your frequency, your belief, and your emotional state with the specific, already existing frame or timeline within that block that contains your desired reality. By vibrating at that frequency in the now, you draw yourself to that existing reality. Similarly, in healing, recognizing the timeless nature of our being can be incredibly empowering. While the physical body experiences illness in linear time, the deeper aspects of self, connected to the higher self, are inherently whole and perfect. Tapping into that timeless wholeness can profoundly influence the physical manifestation of health in the linear now. The key is to understand that the past trauma or future fear, though experienced linearly, also exist as static points in the greater block universe, and from the timeless perspective, their power can be transmuted. Part 5. The Observer Effect and Collapsing Realities. Now, let's bring in a concept that bridges theoretical physics and esoteric thought, the observer effect, and how it relates to the idea of time and higher dimensions. In quantum mechanics, the very act of observing a particle can change its state. Before observation, the particle exists in a state of superposition. It's everywhere and nowhere, in all possible states at once. It's only upon observation that it collapses into a single, definite reality. Apply this to our discussion of time and higher dimensions. If all moments, past, present, and future, already exist in a timeless block universe, then our conscious awareness, our act of observing or experiencing the now, is what effectively collapses that infinite potential into our linear, lived reality. We are not merely passive travelers on the river of time. Our consciousness is actively selecting and manifesting the specific now we perceive. Imagine a projector with all the frames of a movie reel stacked up. If the projector lamp isn't turned on, all frames exist in potential. But when the lamp illuminates one frame, that single frame becomes the present on the screen. Our consciousness, bound by the limits of our dimension, is like that projector lamp, illuminating one now after another, creating the experience of time flowing. From a higher dimensional perspective, there's no need for the collapse into a single present. All potential presents, all possible pasts, and all conceivable futures simply coexist as a grand tapestry of interwoven realities. This is where concepts like parallel universes or alternate timelines intersect. In a timeless higher dimension, every choice, every potential path you could have taken isn't lost or discarded. It exists as another thread in the grand design. This means that our perception of a single, unchangeable past and a fixed, predetermined future might also be an illusion. If higher dimensions allow for the simultaneous existence of multiple timelines, then our conscious awareness, operating within linear time, is constantly making choices that select which timeline we are navigating. It implies a far greater level of co-creative power than we often assume. We aren't just moving through time. We are actively, though often unconsciously, choosing our path through the countless existing possibilities. This understanding shifts the focus from simply waiting for the future to arrive to actively engaging with the present moment as the point of power. For it is in the now, the point of observation, that the infinite potential of higher dimensions collapses into the specific reality we experience. It underscores the profound responsibility and creative freedom embedded within our everyday consciousness. Part 6. Practical Tools for Timeless Living. Accessing the Eternal Now. So, if time is an illusion, a construct of our limited dimension, how can we, as beings rooted in this linear reality, begin to tap into the timelessness of higher dimensions? This isn't just abstract philosophy. There are profound spiritual techniques and shifts in perception that can help you experience the eternal now, unlocking a deeper sense of peace, clarity, and power. First, the practice of mindfulness and meditation. These aren't just trendy wellness activities. They are ancient keys to unlocking the timeless aspect of your consciousness. When you are truly present, fully immersed in the sensations, sounds, and breath of this moment, the relentless chatter about past regrets or future anxieties quietens. In that space of pure presence, the illusion of linear time dissolves. You are simply being. Regular meditation trains your mind to dwell more frequently in this eternal now, allowing you to access insights and calm that are unavailable when your mind is lost in the currents of past and future. It's like momentarily stepping out of the river of time and observing it from the bank. Second, cultivate radical acceptance of what is. Much of our suffering comes from resisting the present moment, wishing things were different, or dwelling on what should have been. The timeless perspective reveals that every moment is as it is, an unchangeable point in the block universe. By accepting the now fully, you stop fighting reality and free up immense energy that was previously spent on resistance. This doesn't mean becoming passive. It means accepting the starting point so you can consciously choose your next move, unburdened by the weight of non-existent pasts or speculative futures. This acceptance is a powerful form of spiritual surrender that paradoxically empowers you. Third, engage in creative flow states. Have you ever been so absorbed in a creative endeavor, painting, writing, playing music, solving a complex problem, that hours melted away without notice? In these moments of flow, you are operating outside of linear time. Your conscious mind, your ego, steps aside, and you merge with a deeper, more timeless aspect of your being. These experiences are mini glimpses of what it feels like to operate from a higher dimensional perspective, where the linear progression of cause and effect is transcended and intuitive insights flow freely. Actively seek out and cultivate these flow states in your life. Finally, practice conscious visualization and intention setting. If the future already exists as a potential frame in the block universe, then visualization isn't wishful thinking. It's a powerful tool for aligning yourself with that desired reality. By vividly imagining and feeling the reality of your goals as if they're already happening now, you are tuning your consciousness to that specific frequency within the eternal tapestry. This isn't about manipulating time, but about consciously selecting and drawing yourself towards an already existing possibility, much like choosing which book you want to read from the cosmic library. These practices, when consistently applied, begin to shift your core perception. You start to see patterns, synchronicity, and an underlying order that was previously hidden by the relentless rush of linear time. You begin to feel less like a victim of circumstance and more like a conscious co-creator, anchored in the boundless, eternal present. Part 7. The liberation of timelessness, your eternal nature. The revelation that time, as we perceive it, is merely a construct of our dimension, is not meant to diminish your experiences. Instead, it is intended to be profoundly liberating. It changes your relationship with regret, fear, and mortality itself. If the past is not gone but simply is an unchanging point in the cosmic tapestry, then your regrets lose their power to haunt you. You can revisit them from a place of understanding, learn their lessons, and then release their emotional grip, knowing that the experience simply exists as part of the greater whole. You are no longer dragged backward by chains of what was. Similarly, if the future already exists in its entirety, then the paralyzing fear of the unknown begins to dissipate. While you still navigate your path in the linear now, you understand that all potentials already reside within the timeless field. This doesn't mean you become complacent. Rather, it empowers you to approach the unfolding present with greater trust and less anxiety, knowing that you are always moving through a field of infinite possibilities, and your choices are actively navigating you through them. Most profoundly, understanding the illusion of linear time can transform your relationship with death. If your higher self, your true essence, exists beyond the constraints of time, then death is not an end, but merely a transition of awareness, a shift in perception from one dimension to another. It's like closing one book and opening another, or stepping out of the theater after watching a movie. The story of your linear life exists forever within the grand block universe, but your consciousness, unbound, moves into new realms of experience. This perspective fosters a deep sense of eternal belonging. You are not a fleeting visitor in a temporary world. You are an eternal consciousness experiencing a linear slice of reality. Your life is a profound and beautiful journey within a timeless, boundless existence. Every moment holds within it the potential to connect to this profound truth, to step out of the illusion of the clock, and to experience the vast, infinite now that is your true home. Embrace the profound mystery. Question the obvious. For in the very act of questioning time, you begin to touch upon the eternal. If this message helped you see beyond the illusion of time, help us share it with others still caught in the clockwork. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay connected as we uncover more hidden truths. And let us know in the comments, what timeless mystery should we explore next?